Before we begin, 3 messages. So, you've taken some of the advice that has come from Untether.tv guests, built an app, and now you're turning your attention to generating some hard-earned revenue. Then you should be looking at Pontiflex app leads. Some of your peers who are using app leads are earning CPMs 100 times the industry average. And if you need any other reasons to start, I'll give you 2 more. You can run sign-up ads from top brands, the ones that you recognize, and it won't take your precious users out of your app. Go to appleads.com, that's appleads.com, to sign up. When my company needed to develop a key mobile product, one that I was counting on as a new source of revenue, I knew exactly who to turn to: Macadamian. They delivered on time with incredible attention to detail, and I was able to get product into customers' hands faster than I ever thought possible. I've personally known them for 10 years, and they do make great products even better. Check them out at www.macadamian.com. What mobile platform do companies like eBay, NBC Universal, the Los Angeles Times, Razorfish, and PayPal use to build their cross-platform native applications? Titanium by Appcelerator. They aren't alone. There are now over 25,000 apps deployed by Appcelerator, which has been called the Rosetta Stone of app development. And you can start now for free. Just go to www.appcelerator.com for more information. Hello everybody and welcome to Untether.tv. This is that place you come to hear these casual conversations with mobile rock stars, where we get behind the scenes and try to understand how a company can succeed, is succeeding, will succeed, the reasons why they're in that market, how they've marketed the product or the service that they're offering, and then what the future holds. And today, joined all the way from Berlin, Germany, an American, if you can believe it, from Minneapolis, Minnesota, to come and talk to us about a company called 6Wunderkinder and their first product, their only product right now, a company called Wunderlist. I love it. Thank you. And with me is Jessica Erickson, and as I said, from Berlin, and 6Wunderkinder. Jessica, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
I love that. That's great. A startup in Berlin. We were just talking a little bit offline that you're 25 people, and you said that that's not enough. You're kind of growing like gangbusters, and around some of the products that you're in development. And we're here really to talk about Wunderlist, because this great product that's been out there for a little while that I use quite regularly. Why don't you give us a little bit of background information on 6Wunderkinder and also Wunderlist, your first product? But I mean, 6Wunderkinder, great name. What do you guys do?
Well, for those of you who might not know the reference, but it basically means 6 Wonder Kids. They're all very young founders. Everyone's under the age of 30, and they were buddies hanging out in a garage. Super techie, obviously, but wanted to come up with a cool product that they could sell in the market. Christian Reber, our CEO and co-founder, he was sort of the leader that took over the idea and the concept and made the idea reality. They were formed about, it's been since August of 2010, so it's a very fresh, young, new company. They wanted to have it in Berlin. They didn't want to go anywhere else in the world. They really wanted to put Berlin on the map as this kind of up-and-coming startup scene. Obviously, you've heard of companies like SoundCloud that are here, and other companies like Wooga who are doing quite well. So it made sense to stay here, build an awesome team, get everyone interested in an idea, and that was basically to improve the way people work and collaborate and basically task manage. So they decided to come up with the name Wunderlist. Have you used it yet, Rob?
Oh yeah, I'll tell you my story about this product is that I have longed for a cloud-based, a cloud-synced task list that I can use on my desktop, which I use a MacBook Pro, on my iPad, and on my iPhone, because I've had one of each, but they often don't talk to each other. And then I came across Wunderlist, and first of all, the other products I paid for, like Things and a bunch of other ones, are like $29, $39, $49 just for one platform, like the iPad version. And I came across Wunderlist, and it's free. Free on all platforms. Free on every platform.
Yeah, and actually a lot of our users really have a hard time wrapping that around their head because we
Yes.
do, I mean, it offers so much and yeah, it's free. So
It's a great, so I'm a convert. I like it. I love this thing. Why don't you just talk about what it is? So I've given it a little bit of a description, obviously, a cloud synced task and to-do list.
Yeah. Well, essentially what it is just a way to organize your tasks and just boost your productivity. We really believe in the get things done philosophy, and the fact that if you're an Android user, if you use your iPhone, iPad, PC, browser, Mac, you're able to sync all those and be able to share your task lists with friends, colleagues, coworkers. So here at the 6Wunderkinder office, I have my 6W tasks, and then Christian can see those tasks, and I can add notes to each task. So, we can collaborate on projects and ideas through that. Or it can be something more relaxed as, one of my coworkers and I, we share a top 10 movies list. So, he'll have his list, I'll have mine, and we can go down it and check one off every time we watch it and share each other's thoughts and ideas on the note page.
It becomes like a repository, and you can use it across like an enterprise, like a company like 6Wunderkinder, and the individual. Like I use it just by myself. I've tried to send tasks to people, but they just respond saying, "No, I'm not doing that." So I use it as an individual, and I find that it's very productive for me personally and professionally.
Definitely. Tomorrow I'm actually going to post some on our blog. If you go to wunderkinder.com/blog, about how employees at Accelerator use Wunderlist and how we use Titanium. So keep a lookout for that. But yeah, even departments within companies like to coordinate their tasks together using Wunderlist. So, and their children.
And their children use it.
Yeah, kids are using it too. It's pretty easy, and that's what I guess is a great selling point. It's very minimal, has a beautiful design. We really thought about the UI design. A lot of people comment that it looks like an Apple product, but
it's a big compliment.
It's a huge compliment. We're really pleased with that. But the fact that it's simple, young children can use it. So
I mean, obviously, when Christian was looking at this and his co-founders, they were looking at very influenced by David Allen getting things done, and that whole approach. And I think that from a lot of people in the technical community are influenced by David Allen's work. It seems to stem from there, the popularity. I love it. I mean, David Allen is a guru around this. So was that really the impetus to start the company? Was that really the reason that they started the company? They were looking at the mobile space first, or they were looking at the task-based space first? Which came first?
I think it all kind of joined at the same time. Obviously, every business thinks about productivity, time management, coordinating. We have a lot of tools, but it's hard to find a way to connect all of them together and simplify it so that the average person can just come to work and be able to feel like they're organized and that they have everything together. So, Christian and the team are really thinking about how we can improve and enable technology to improve the human experience, because I guess most people that we know are online and working, and they just need a set of tools that makes each day easier and easier. So as a team, we're constantly looking online for the next best tool to use for the office. I shouldn't pitch all of them.
No.
Advertising, but we use a lot, and we try new stuff. If it doesn't work, we'll try the next best thing.
I think that's the eternal quest, isn't it? Because I know a lot of people who fall into that same category, who are out there looking for products like this, and they go through a very standard progression, which is they start at 37 signals, right? And then they use all of those products, and then they think, well, I need a little bit more over here. So they jump over it, and I've tried every single product, I swear, that's out there. And each one is lacking in one piece or two pieces. And some of them I can't even believe they got made or funded. But I could do an entire show on that.
Sure.
But there are a lot of task-based products out there. I mentioned one, which was Things.
Yep.
That's a very popular task-based GTD kind of approach. Mm-hmm. And some of the mainstays that are already out there as well that cost even more than Things. What makes you guys so different?
Well, I think it's just two main points that we touched on before. It's convenience and zero cost. The fact that our competitors are charging for features that we can already match for free, it makes sense that if someone finds our app, they decide to use Wunderlist.
Yeah.
I think productivity apps just in general, there's always a compromise on the features. So some productivity apps are available on multi-platforms, but they're not cloud synced solution.
Yeah.
So it makes the whole multi-platform scenario pointless. And I think some product, I don't understand why people develop something like that, but then don't think about the big picture. So, and some just don't have a beautiful design like Wunderlist, and they're incredibly pricey. But, I guess our main goal is to just basically do everything at once, meaning multi-platform, nice UI design, free, right from the get-go. And
how do you turn that into? So, I understand, the other guys are charging a few dollars. I bought task lists for $1.99 all the way up to, Things. And I think I spent $50 on an application that I just disposed of very quickly. And but it's and I'm not alone here. Mm-hmm. The question is, how are you going to turn this into some revenue? Is it right now your focus is on bringing users in?
Yeah.
At some point you got to make some money.
There's a marketing strategy behind that, definitely. We get this question a lot from many, even our users. They say, "I would pay for this app. Yeah. Why would you offer it to me for free?" But obviously, we wanted to see if it could gain popularity, gain visibility, just to try out a new technology and see if everything scales effectively. Yeah. If the technical setup, can fit and it can work and our servers don't crash and we can help a huge amount of users using our app, then it makes sense. You build up a cool user base and you make everyone really fall in love with your product and your company. And then eventually, when we launch our next product, which I can't talk too much about, but it's called Wunderkit, that will be monetized and eventually we'll integrate Wunderlist within the Wunderkit. However, Wunderlist will always remain free.
So, and we'll bring up Wunderkit a little bit later on. It's very interesting because I think a lot of companies have learned about marketing in this day and age around especially applications like this, that mm-hmm. The way you just described it is this is the lost leader, if you will, mm-hmm. So that you now built up a great following of people like me who love the product and who will evangelize the product, and then when you actually do release your second product and your third product, that there may be a charge, whether it's a software fee like I buy a license, or a syncing fee, or it's a software as a service, whatever Wunderkit is, and product X and product Y after that, I'm more likely to buy. Is that the theory?
I think that's a safe theory. Yeah, I think a lot of it has to do with branding and if your user base really falls in love with your company. And we try to write really interesting blog pieces that users can read, that entrepreneurs can read, or even developers. So, I really believe in brands and that they do work. And I still use the same products that I was using when I was 15 years old. It's just, if you build that relationship and have someone fall in love with 6Wunderkinder, then they're more apt to trying out your new product in the future. So I think it's a good business plan.
I can see. For those who are just listening to the podcast, Jessica has the white iPhone headphones, right, or the right. So, so obviously that's a brand, right? Apple is a big brand, and you just said that you take great pride in the fact that people have said that Wunderlist looks like an Apple product. So that's a great brand to be associated with. You also said that you all wear blue slippers that match your logo. Right?
Yeah, that match this color here.
This is a really interesting departure here, and this is what often happens is that so you're living this brand development at 6Wunderkinder, and it's obviously got to be in you and in Christian and the 23 other people that work in this organization that you are building a brand. And everybody's got to believe in that, right? That this is just not a product, this is a brand company. Is that a challenge to do for you guys, or is it fun to build a brand?
I think it's a lot of fun. More and more these days, you notice entrepreneurs that are really wanting to become opinion leaders in their communities. Because a lot of people are watching you and listening to you and seeing the steps that you're taking to build a successful company. And I think Christian and his team have done an excellent job. Before I even started working here, I followed their blog, and there's lessons on a startup 101 that Robert, our marketing manager, wrote. And they host events and basically get the Berlin startup scene kind of interested and engaged in each other, because we are each other's best assets.
Right.
And I think, if you believe in sharing your knowledge and supporting other startups, your community will only grow stronger, and it'll attract investors, and it'll attract media and journalists. I mean, TechCrunch Europe's writing a lot about the Berlin startup scene. So, we really want to be at the forefront of that and building this. So we got involved with this project called Silicon LA, which is actually, it's a blog, but it's based here in Berlin. And my friends Skylar and Travis are also working on it with us. They both have their own startups. But we hosted an event 3 weeks ago, and I think something around 400 or 500 people showed up from the startup scene. So, you see business cards. Yeah, it's really neat how this is all kind of very organic and happening. And then you find people at these events who are interested in writing pieces on their startup and sharing advice and knowledge, just becoming more transparent. And, you hear about this copycat culture that's here, but we're really trying to fight that and find the originators and the innovators and the new thinkers who, should represent the scene. And I think we have a lot to offer and insight. And if you keep that momentum going, you may not have to go all the way to Silicon Valley. You can stay here. So, I would definitely encourage checking out siliconla.com just to kind of read comments. I wrote a piece recently on women in tech, and I interviewed a bunch of women who've started their own companies, and that attracted greater press here. Somebody at a large press agency read it and said she'd like to interview me. So it's just about voicing your thoughts and your ideas and making sure that people are able to contact you if they have questions directly.
I mean, I love that. I'm from Ottawa, Canada, and we had a tech. We have a great tech community, but it's for the last 10 years after the web and the internet boom bubble burst, it's been a little bit depressed. I think the entrepreneurs have been depressed, the investment community is depressed, and so technology is it's also a very big government town. So there's always a battle going on. But the same thing that you're talking about. So you're building the 6Wunderkinder brand. And you're building the Berlin startup brand at the same time, and hopefully what that does is it creates that aura around the city, in the same way that we're doing here in Ottawa. There's great parallels here, and I think that it's a valiant effort, and it has to come, I think, from the startup community. It can't come from top down or government. It has to come from it has to bubble up from the
grassroots level. Yeah, for sure. And that's really Christian, our CEO's philosophy is that this is Germany. We're going to build a startup here, and it will succeed within its own little ecosphere in Berlin. So
I love that.
as long as,
Well, because the hotbed of activity, I've always heard Berlin always comes up around different areas and different reasons, and I know a lot of people who visit Berlin and say, I love it. I just want to get back there. Obviously, you're from Minnesota.
Minnesota, you got
Minnesota, right? I don't know why I have to say it that way. From Minnesota, but you ended up in Berlin. How did you end up here?
Okay, so I was living in New York City before I moved to Berlin,
Right.
and I also was involved with the tech startup scene. But in the end, New York wasn't really for me. Maybe it was just the wrong place at the wrong time, but I wanted something a little more laid back, less stressful. And I had studied in Europe, a couple years before that, and I really miss Europe. So I thought, okay, where would I move? And Berlin seemed like the most logical place. It's, I don't know, it's something really cutting edge here, and I can't explain it. It's just a feeling you get when you move here. But it's the same size as London with half the population, so you have the space. Everyone seems to be really creative, innovative. They're a mixture of artists and entrepreneurs, and because the cost of living is so low, you can manage to do a lot with very little.
Right.
And I think if more and more people knew about the environment here, even entrepreneurs in the States, they might consider moving their entire office here and working, because you just have an enormous space to work with. And if your team grows quickly, you can still afford it. Whereas in New York City, you're 20 people shoved into a tiny shoebox and you feel suffocated. It's hard to work in that kind of environment. So Berlin's great. I couldn't ask for more. It's a really awesome city. So I hope to stay here for the long term.
That's pretty amazing because you're there at the formation, not only about for Wunderkinder, but you're also there at the formation of the tech scene, and that's pretty amazing because the energy there just makes you thrive. And as you said, we're recording this. It's 1 o'clock my time. It's 7 o'clock your time. You've got developers still in the office. You said they'll be there till 10.
Yeah.
The youth, right? That's exactly what it is.
Yep.
It's about working late at a
startup. And even though the team is so young, they're just so how do you say it? It's like they've gained a ton of experience in such a short amount of time. And Christian's a really great leader. He knows how to manage teams, and he's very keen on talking to everyone. I mean, down to every last detail. So you constantly get good feedback. And it's totally different environment from working in like more of the corporate arena, where you rarely talk to your CEO, maybe once a year if lucky.
Exactly.
So yeah, I'm learning a lot too, working in PR and marketing, just meeting a ton of people at networking events every month. So it's been a good experience so far. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think this all comes back to that question, which is how are you guys marketing this? And it just seems like what you guys are doing by building this brand, it's obviously going to accelerate your marketing efforts.
For sure.
And it's a competitive space, so that you've got to come up with a different angle to market and publicize what you're doing with the product, with Wunderlist.
Yeah. I mean, Christian likes to believe that if you create an awesome app that people want and need and see very necessary in your life, you really don't need to do a ton of marketing. It's just people are sort of drawn to you naturally, and so are the media. And I mean, I submitted Wunderlist to the iPhone store and it blew up. It was awesome. We submitted to the Mac App Store, and we got App of the Week. And only in 3 days we're on the front page. So our user base just skyrocketed, and even our Facebook fans jumped up. So I would recommend that young startups who have a great app enter into the Mac App Store, because you'll just see the numbers soar. I think we increased 3,300% of our user base, and only 2 weeks after entering the Mac App Store.
It's funny because it's an interesting thing is that most people in the mobile space, the pure play mobile space, go into the App Store, not the Mac App Store, but the App Store, and leave it to chance. And what you're saying here is that, listen, whatever you're doing in the App Store, think about what you can do as a complement on the Mac App Store on the desktop side, so that you can amplify the message, right?
Definitely. You're not only reaching a global marketplace, you're also getting great reviews, so it's really transparent. I mean, you get to see what people think about your product right then and there. They have that 5-star rating. So we're glad that our 5-star rating is really good, and get positive feedback all the time. But we also get critiques from our users. They're always requesting different features, and we're definitely listening to them.
Yep.
It's important to acknowledge the fact that we're listening to them. I think our community management team's been awesome. Matt and Eric really every time someone asks a question on Facebook or Twitter, through our support team, they always answer. So it's paying attention, making sure that you're making a long list of things, and hopefully adding those features later on in the future. But as of now, I think we have around 850,000 registered users for Wunderlist, and we're quickly approaching 2 million downloads. So, you know, obviously, once we reach the global market, we're going to have to hire a bigger team and more support, but we'll always make sure that we're there for our users, and they're the whole reason why we are, you know, here and successful so far. So that's a really important message.
I want to come right back to this because, I mean, those numbers are astounding, right? 850,000 registered users. That's your mailing list for the next product, which is, which is an unbelievable running start in such a short period of time. 2 million downloads, which is another, I mean, if there's at all any activity. So the difference between a registered user and a download is that they're syncing versus not syncing, right?
I mean, there's a bunch of other variables. We try to track how often and frequently people are actually using it, and we've, you know, implemented a series of emails reminding people of their tasks every week. Yeah. But yeah, it's safe to say that there's a huge user base that's using Wunderlist every day, and we hope that number keeps growing because they could eventually use WunderKit.
Well, why do you think that Apple featured this in the App Store and on the Mac App Store? Well, you know, there's got to be a reason why. I mean, there's momentum and there's feedback and there's input and there's you know, everything like that. But you know, a lot of companies do a lot of great application development and publish them onto both app stores. But you know, 99.99999% of those never, ever, 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 ever get featured. Why you guys, do you think?
You know, I'm not 100% sure, so I don't want to quote anything or anyone, but I have a feeling that A, because we already had a pretty large user base, and B, the fact that the design is gorgeous, and C, it's free, and it offers a lot of, you know, awesome features. So, and I'd like to say that it has a lot to do with design too. I could be totally wrong, and we might have to edit this answer. But
it's speculation. It's the same thing. Like,
it's hard to say. It's really hard to say. I need to look into that. That's actually a good point you bring up.
But it's also got to be. You got to think that the timing was right, and the fact that they announced their iCloud service and are putting a lot of effort into the cloud space and supporting the cloud efforts. I think, you know, I'm speculating now as well, just like you. But there's got to be a code here that somebody can crack so that we can figure out how to get every one of these companies at least a little bit of a limelight into every good product, limelight on the App Store.
Definitely.
Now, you've also built this, you know, I'm Mac-centric. I look around and, you know, I've got everything that's white and Mac in front of me. You also built this... Well, yeah, it's embarrassing, really, all of a sudden. I'm looking around thinking, wow. Actually, a little bit of brand diversity might not be a bad thing as well. But you also have an Android client for this?
Yeah, we do.
And so, I mean, that's a huge undertaking. Small company, free product, iOS, Mac OS, Android OS. This is a great plug for, you know, obviously a sponsor of the show, which is AppCelerator. You guys built this on Titanium, didn't you?
Yeah, we did.
And you know, full disclosure, AppCelerator is the company that builds Titanium. These guys are a sponsor of Untether.tv, but that's the disclosure. Right?
No problem.
But I mean, what was that experience like? I mean, what was it like for you? What was it like for you guys to build on that? What was the reason you guys chose these guys?
Yeah, it's a really good question.
For a good reason. Don't tell me if it's a bad reason.
No. I think when you have a great idea and you want to develop something very quickly with limited time and maybe you don't have the manpower, I think it makes sense to use Titanium. You know, one of the reasons our users love our product is that they can use it everywhere. So, you know, we're talking about the Android, the iPhone, all the iOS devices, web, PC. So the fact that we could build on Titanium we could build on every platform, and it's remarkably consistent. It's a beautiful interface, and we could do it very quickly. I think that's just the main point of it. And actually, we hosted a Wunderland event where Jeff Haney, am I saying his last name correctly? Jeff Haney, the CEO and co-founder of Accelerator, came and spoke, and he talked a lot about titanium, and we had, I think, around 150 people that attended, young developers. So the fact that they have that option and that resource to work with Accelerator, it's just an added bonus, because a lot of times you just don't have the resources. So.
I like that.
We're thankful for your help.
Well, these. I mean, I love that idea, because you're the perfect application to showcase, simply because. Just for the reasons why we said that there's nobody really in this space like you guys, because of the desktop app, the ubiquitous use of this application across all platforms. It has to be there, or else it's just a total failure. If you can't synchronize your applications, if I can't get it into a task into my system from wherever I stand, in whatever device or application or that I'm using, it has to be there. So
definitely, and it's pretty new technology too, titanium, and we used an open source app so that other builders can see how we built on the SDK, and it's nice. We like to give back and show what we've done. Hopefully that'll help.
I love that. And see there's an advertorial for Accelerator. I mean, I'm a big supporter of it. I don't put anybody on the site. I don't allow just everybody to sponsor. I believe in the companies that I've got. So if I can do a little plug like that, so pardon me, Accelerator is a good product. Yes. So now comes this interesting part, is that you said you got 850,000 registered users, 2 million downloads. You got now it's about and you were featured in the app stores. Now it's about accelerating your own user adoption. And you alluded to it, that your support team, Matt and Eric, these guys,
AKA Erish, that's his nickname here. We all have nicknames here at 6Wunderkinder.
Yes, well, so that everybody can pronounce them properly. So Matt and Eric are out there, and they are answering everybody's queries and responses on Facebook and Twitter. That's part of your marketing, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And we just launched a Tumblr blog. It's blog.wunderlist.com, and people can hear about tips, tricks, and other things that are of interest. So, young developers can see what we're doing. I just spoke to our CTO, and he's going to write a guest blog post on this Tumblr. So, we're thinking, okay, what can we do to help the brand, to build leadership? And we decided to have a really technical blog post for Wunderlist. We'll eventually have one for Wunderkit. And then on our main company website, we have our blog with opinions and thoughts and just general announcements. So always relaying information and being up with the trends and seeing how 6Wunderkinder fits within the hot topics that are flying around on Mashable and TechCrunch and VentureBeat. It's important, and that definitely builds brand awareness, because bloggers catch on to the fact and repost or retweet or follow you on Facebook and add comments. So I think that's a huge part of branding, especially for young startups.
So is that, I mean, I love it. It's a lot of work, obviously, right? Because you're basically cementing, 6Wunderkinder as a thought leader, as you said, as a thought leader, an advanced thought leader in the space. But I love the approach that you're taking, which is, listen, we're going to give you tips and tricks on how to use Wunderlist appropriately. And then we're going to also, from a technical side, we want to show you how we built this product and why we built it this way. And and it kind of, it engenders a loyalty. It's the same way that Ruby on Rails and the leaders of Ruby on Rails, a development platform, did it. They've become kind of revered heroes in the space, right? So
definitely, and 37 Signals, I mean, that blog is great. Everybody reads it. Everyone's interested. They get a lot of comments, and it definitely helps with the branding, but it also gives back. There's meaning behind all of it. So, yeah, I think companies should definitely encourage working on a blog and just reaching out to the community and hearing what they think about your product, or do guest blogs on other companies' websites. It's all interconnected. We're a very small community if you think about it.
Well, I mean, here's a question about blogging: is that and maybe it's certainly out of the scope here, but around promotion of your product, there's a fine line, obviously, between over promoting and promoting the industry, and by proxy promoting what you're doing. But I mean, how often should people be doing this? How often should they be participating? How often should they be a part of the blog community? How often should they be blogging or pushing out Twitter posts? And
I think the more the better. I mean, you can never give out too much information, but it's important that it's good content.
Right.
You don't want to just say anything off the whim. We actually met with the Next Web. I don't know if you can see this.
Yeah.
And I think they have a great blog. A lot of people pull insight from there, and they're definitely opinion leaders on hot topics. So, on average, we have a couple blog posts per week, but obviously as we grow and gain momentum and have more readers, we're going to have more content, and we're going to think about what our readers really want to read. And, maybe the developer wants to focus more on the Tumblr blog, or a woman in the tech scene who's curious about Charlotte, our co-founder, who happens to be female. Maybe she wants to read a piece on women in tech on our company blog site. So, you get a lot of feedback, a lot of likes on Facebook when you get information out there. And the more you build that, the more of a readership you'll have. So I think it's really important.
So, I mean, I agree. I'm going to ask you this, Jessica. You said, do you think that this is just the cost of doing business now for a startup like you guys? Because, there are lots of startups. Silicon Valley, New York City, Austin, Boston, up here in Canada, in Ottawa, Toronto, Montreal, Vancouver. And this is a common thread that comes along, is this, in order to market it, it's not overt marketing, it's content contribution, it's building up a great follower like 37 Signals did with their blog, so that when you do launch your product, you've got a running start. Do you think that that's just the way that business is done today? Like what you guys are doing?
I mean, if you think about the nature of this scene, everyone is online, everyone's constantly reading, and it's less meeting people outside of the internet and more online. So
Yes.
you have a voice. I have my own Twitter, my own Tumblr. I'm an active user on Facebook. But when I post something that's thoughtful and people can relate to, they comment and then they share their opinion. Or if you ask an open-ended question about something, people jump in and they're genuinely engaged and interested in participating in the conversation. So I think it's pretty standard nowadays to have a blog on your company website, and to make sure that you pay attention to social media marketing, and that your CEO of your company is twittering away and responding to other influencers and other opinion leaders in the community. So, yeah.
It is. It's about engagement, and I love it. Well, It's quite obvious, Jessica, that you love what you're doing.
I do.
And that Christian is one of those rare breeds of visionary and inspirational leaders. And I hope to meet Christian one day, because it seems like he's of that elite group where he can, rally the troops, bring vision and excitement and energy to a company, and he's doing it for what I believe, and I think what you believe, obviously, are the right reasons to foster great culture inside of a company, to build a great community that supports companies like 6Wunderkinder, and then puts Berlin on the map when it comes to from an altruistic perspective, as a great place for other startups to start up. I love that. I love all of that.
Yeah, and he's always got great advice. I wish he was here to speak with you today. Unfortunately, he's at a meeting, as usual. He's got a lot of meetings and a lot of emails, so I'm glad I could step in. But
I wouldn't consider, Jessica, I wouldn't consider what you just did stepping in. This is a great session. You're engaging. This has been a lot of fun for me, and I'm pretty sure that the people who are watching and still listening I would agree that it's the energy that brings it, and you've certainly got a lot of that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, just love to speak directly to the entrepreneurs out there. You know, think big. You have an awesome idea. Find that special team that's going to help you realize that idea, because you never know. You could be the next big thing. And you could be helping and shaping the way we live our lives. So I think it's a really exciting ecosphere that's in Berlin or in London or in Silicon Valley, wherever you are in the world. You have the power and the tools to do it. And the fact that everything is cheaper and easier, you can manage to build a successful company and team and product. So best of luck.
Just, I don't even know how to end it any better than that. Well done. So let's finish with this. Is how do people find out about you guys? Where do they find information about the products? Where do they find information about the company? Oh, wait. Before you say that.
Okay.
What about WunderKit?
Okay.
What? Like, you know, I've been on your, you know, I'm a frequent visitor of your website. For the longest time in the world, I've been seeing this. Right?
Yeah. That page is actually being updated as you speak. So
well, it says we are currently working on our next big idea. It's called WunderKit. Bum, bum, bum. And that's it.
Yeah.
So what can you tell us about this? Anything?
You know, I'm not at liberty to say a lot right now. It's very hush-hush. I would love to tell you because I've seen it, and I can tell you I got the goosebumps. I'm really excited about this product because it's something that anyone can use, and I could describe it as a collaborative working space.
We're going to keep some mystery around this because...
Yeah, we'll give you hints and tips and ideas what it could be in the next coming months. But yeah, keep a lookout at the page, and you'll be getting... The people who are really watching and listening will know.
Well, it's something that I'm going to... this is maybe where I can get Christian on to talk. When this product launches... We'll let all the hubbub die down, and then I'll get him on to describe it, because I love the fact that this has been a trailer for the whole time I've been using Wunderlist. I've seen this WunderKit, and it started to create a little momentum of conversation on its own.
Yeah,
you're mum about it, but I see conversations happening online about this. What is it? What could it be? I love that intrigue because it keeps people coming back. Good marketing.
It's true. Thanks. Yeah, well, we have to thank the marketing team and Christian and everyone else here. Yeah, I mean, it's important that we have awesome apps, but I think in the end, I mean, this is my personal opinion, it's really the platform that you build the apps on. And if you come up with something really innovative in a way that it just changes your experience and it's useful, hint, hint, WunderKit.
Stop teasing.
It'll have the same sexy design that Wunderlist has and our website has. We're really about design. I think 50% of a product is just your design.
Absolutely.
Probably why Apple's been so successful is because everyone likes the way the products look.
It evokes an emotion, right? And that's what you want it to do.
It's creative, it's productive, and we're kind of following the similar philosophy. Keeping it, beautiful and helping you change the way you live your life.
So how can people find out more about you guys?
I guess the best way is to check out our website, www.6Wunderkinder.com. And there you'll find a Wunderlist tab at the top where you can download. You'll find our main company blog. And have a read, scan through. Maybe you'll like some of the stories we share, and maybe you want to participate in the conversation and give us some feedback, because we love hearing feedback. That's how we can always improve. Feedback is important. That loop is very important. Definitely. Well, Jessica, I can't thank you enough for doing this. This has been a wonderful session. You're not a fill-in. This has been a phenomenal conversation around what you guys are doing at 6Wunderkinder, with what you're doing with Wunderlist, and what you're eventually going to be doing with WunderKit. I can't wait. So do us all a favor. Go to 6Wunderkinder. That's the number 6, WUNDERKINDER.com. And go and check them out. Blogs everywhere, content everywhere. They're hiring like crazy. If you're in Berlin, or if you want to move to Berlin, reach out to Jessica. If you're a Rockstar developer, because that's what everybody needs everywhere these days. Without even looking at a website, everybody knows that they need that. And hang on, but go and give Wunderlist a try, because it's free. It's cloud synced across all these platforms, built on that titanium platform from Accelerator, which is great.
Thank you, Jessica, for doing this. I really
Thanks
appreciate
so much, Rob, for letting us speak with you today. I really appreciate it, and thanks, Titanium.
That's right. This isn't an ad for them, but you gotta listen.
Yeah.
Thank you guys who are still watching. I really appreciate the fact that you do this each and every episode. I know you found value in it, but I too love feedback. So if you are still watching this or you are still listening to this, reach out. Untether@gmail.com. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think about what's going on in the community, who I should be interviewing, what I did wrong in this, what I did right in this interview. It doesn't matter. Just reach out. Let me know. Say hi. I really appreciate it. So thank you for watching and listening. Jessica, thank you so much for being a part of this. Really appreciate
Thanks, Rob. Take care, and we'll see you in Ottawa.
See you guys next time on Untether.tv.